everyone, welcome to our podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about mental health and how it affects us as content creators. I am your hostess, Katharina, and I'm thrilled to be joined by three incredible friends who bring a wealth of experience as VTubers and content creators to the table. We're going to be sharing some stories, personal tips on challenges or things that we face like stage fright, burnout, and taking time for self-care. Let's go ahead and introduce each other, and I'm going to start with Olivia Monroe, a happy ballerina VTuber. Olivia, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your content?
Why, hello, everybody. My name is Olivia Monroe. You guys can call me Ollie. I am a happy and wholesomely chaotic ballerina. And my content is honestly all kinds of stuff. I love playing video games. I love just hanging out. I love just having a good time. Sometimes I do like sock puppets. Sometimes I do like crazy stuff. And I just love streaming as my creative outlet. But I'm here and very happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Miss Katharina.
Oh, thank you for joining me, Olivia Monroe. Next up, let's go ahead and also welcome Shemaya Live, a fallen angel VTuber. Shemaya, could you tell us about yourself and your content, please?
Well, I'm Shemaya. I am a variety streamer. I stream primarily on Twitch right now, but I like to stream like my art and sometimes silly games. I just like to enjoy the chaos that some of the games can bring. I make my own VTubers and VTuber assets. So that's kind of what I'm into. Like I want to create a bunch of cool art for the community and stuff.
I love art. Your art's so good.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been making some fun assets. You can find me on Twitter with that if you want to see some cursed assets or some cute ones, mostly cursed.
Yes, they're all great. You should totally check her out. And then wonderfully to my right, we have Lily Vanillia, hyperactive puppy cat of VTuber. Lily, could you share with us a little bit about yourself and your content?
Yeah, so I'm Lily. You could also call me Nilla. It's my cute nickname because Lily Vanillia and Nilla is like vanilla. And I am a hyperactive puppy cat VTuber, but something that I really like about myself and what I tell people a lot is that I'm an ADHD, which means I have autism and ADHD, which makes me like 10 times more hyper and crazy and kooky. And those are sides of myself that I just really enjoy, and I never ever want to dim those lights. Something that I really aim to do with my content on my channel, besides just playing a variety of games, is to show people that you can be your 100% true, authentic self. And you don't have to live up to anybody's expectations but your own.
Hooray! That's really, every time Lily says that in her streams, I'm like, oh, you're such a sweetheart. I love you so much. And to follow up with that, I didn't tell you about myself. Hi, I'm Katharina Game. I'm a green witch herbal alchemist. I go by Kath or Raina, depending on how you feel at the time. I do stream like 6 days a week, but I do variety things. I also do crafting streams where I do perler beads or kumihime braiding. Those are the kind of projects I like to do. Currently, the only projects I'm working on is this podcast. I'm working on writing a lore book and a webcomic, so those are the things I'm doing on my side tasks. And we'll go ahead and we'll get straight into some of the questions for today, because again, I just want you guys to know this podcast was something that I wanted to build together with a bunch of my friends that I really, really enjoy their content, and we've all been streaming for quite a long time, so we have some experience under our belts, and mental health is something that we should always be free to talk about. We should never be scared to talk about it, and then just different things that we can do for ourselves to maybe share with our different communities, or how you kind of get through the day-to-days. But just getting started, let's do a quick get to know you kind of question with everybody. And whoever wants to jump in, you totally can. What inspired you to begin creating fun things online through content creation?
I can start. Sure, that's no problem. I will go ahead. Since I was looking around here. Yeah, so for me, honestly, when we're talking about mental health and everything, I think a hard mental health period for a lot of people was like COVID lockdowns. And that was also the time when I found content creation. I literally just wanted to stream to my brothers. My brothers said, get a VTuber. It's going to be a lot easier for you to like keep your privacy, and we want you to be safe and everything. So I was like, okay, no problem. And I just found that streaming and talking to people, since I'm so social, has really helped my mental health. And especially during a time when I couldn't see other people, like my classes, my job, everything was like so up in the air or canceled. And I was just like at home all day. For some people, being at home by themselves is a great thing. But for me, it's like a death sentence. Like I cannot deal like that. So for me, like it literally shaped so much of my mental health, especially during those like kind of really hard times for everybody. And so I'm really, really grateful. But that's how I started.
Oh.
I take you.
I love that. What did you stream to your brothers, if I may ask?
I honestly started with like the worst game possible because I wanted to get into video games. I had only played like Mario Party, Mario Kart, those ones, but my brothers
I'm
have always
Nintendo
been,
girly.
my brothers have always been like hardcore gamers. And so I was like, oh, this one looks really cool. I want to play Yakuza. I tried Yakuza. So overwhelming for a baby. Do not play Yakuza as like your first game. So I was like, ditch that. So I went to visual novels and I played Danganronpa, which was like my first like proper game on stream. And that was so fun. That's an easy one to get people in to video games. It's like, here's a visual novel. All you have to do is click. Not hard, okay? You don't have to like press combo, backspace, B, half a circle, like fighting game combo or something or whatever. Yeah, Yakuza was like way too hard for me. I remember like almost crying. I was like, I can't do video games. I'm too stupid. But now we're here. So anyways, yeah.
That's cool. I can go next. So I started creating stuff when I was a kid because I liked anime. I like grew up on cartoons and anime. So like I was like, I'm gonna draw this stuff. So I've been drawing it since I've been little. And then I wanted to like do more with it. Everyone told me for a really long time, you should make a VTuber. And I was like, what's that? And then I looked into it and I was like, I'll try to make one. So I actually started with making one. And then I was like, okay, now what do I do with this thing? And people had told me for years, you should try to stream your art or like, I don't know, anything like that. And I was like, I don't know about that. I just like making it. I just wanted to see if I could like make them and sell them. But then I tried to stream with it just to see how it was and if it worked well and stuff. And I ended up falling in love with streaming and building a really beautiful community that is just really fun. And I don't know, I'm addicted to it now. I love streaming. So they've even convinced me now to do other things besides art. I sometimes play games and it's really fun because we get up to really chaotic things. I love games that I can play with like my community and stuff. So like any game that they can participate in, like a crowd control game or I don't know, it can be so funny or just like have their input in. I don't know, it's been really fun, but I still primarily do a lot of art streams because that's what I'm into, especially into the VTuber sphere. I want to make assets. I want to make, I don't know, VTubers. I want to make all this cool stuff because it's what inspires me. So I've just been going off of that for a really long time and been decently successful. So that's why I'm here still.
Your assets are amazing, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I
I love your assets.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what inspires you a lot? Because, like, there's like, it looks to me, is it like Precure? Is it like magical girls? Is it like anime? Certain types of anime? Or like, what inspires you for art?
A little bit of everything.
Like genre.
A little bit of everything. You know, I really did grow up on anime first. Like my very first like TV show I ever watched was like Pokemon or like Dragon Ball. So I just always liked that stuff. And I don't know, I loved Nintendo growing up and stuff like that. So just anything around me inspires me. I don't know, sometimes going to the beach inspires me to make stuff. The VTuber community inspires me in general. Like a lot of like people like you guys that are so cool. Like I get inspired and I'm like, I want to draw them. I don't know, I think I just have a problem where I just want to draw things and I'm you know.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Because Shamaya, you inspire me to do more art too. Like every time I see that you're on me and I'm like, oh my God, maybe I should get my tablet out and like do a couple of doodles or something. Like I love co-working with you, even though you don't know I'm there. But like I enjoy the silly little co-work that I have set up.
See, that also really inspires me, not only like what creators are doing, but I don't know, I kind of like, well, my lore is that I am your shoulder angel. So that little voice you hear in your head. So like I get really excited.
I love that.
When people get excited like about the things they're doing. I don't know. I'm just that little gremlin on your shoulder. So like when you're like, hee hee, I love this. I like it too. So something that really does inspire me through my like process and everything is when people show me what they're working on, when they're working with me like that during my streams, like we'll draw together as a community in a way. And I don't know, I love that stuff. It inspires me and builds off each other. And then we make like really cool things or curse things. I don't know. It could be funny.
I love.
I'll talk about myself then next, if that's cool.
Yeah.
So how I started my journey as a content creator is I was bored, to be completely honest with you. I worked a normal 8 to 5 job and I came home home and there was nothing to do and I didn't want to sit in front of a TV and just zone out. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stream to my friends because they think I'm really funny. And so I started streaming to my friends and they were like, oh man, you're hilarious. You should like stream on Twitch. And I was like, nobody's going to watch me on Twitch. That's silly. They go, you should do it anyway. And I go, all right, fine. I can go be goofy on Twitch, whatever. And then 6 years later, here we are. I have a VTuber model because I did just vocals right at the start because I wanted to be a voice actor. Like that was the one thing that I was kind of drove me to do a lot of stuff when I was younger. I liked to write a bunch of stuff. I'm a dungeon master, so I love story building, and so I have a lot of voices that I can throw out. But that's just kind of what I build my community off of. And then I also do lots of crafting stuff. I like to do a lot of things with my hands, so we did lots of crafting streams, and I have a stack of perler creations that I just don't know what to do with, but there's a lot there.
Those are cool.
I do love parlors.
But yeah, so then that was really what kind of brought me into here. I was bored one day and here I am, and now it's just a hobby for me because I love content creating. It's my favorite thing to do. I think about it, I think about it at work. I'm thinking about it and I go, what else could I do for my community that I won't tell them about until I actually show them what it is, because I think that's hilarious.
I love this. I love that too. Like when you work on things in like secret, I love that. That's so fun. Give them a little surprise.
Yeah. It truly is like a labor of love because you wouldn't be thinking about doing all these things or creating things unless you didn't love what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And I love that about content creation. It just never leaves your head and you're like, I can't wait to share this with you. I can't wait to go over this with you. I just want to laugh with you. I just want to have a good time with you. It's just really exciting.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I also get it just like that, where it's constantly on my mind. But you also have to be a little careful of that because that can be a double-edged sword too for some people. Where
For the burnout.
Yeah,
You're always
I
on.
know that's that can be a hard thing for people. So that's always something to pay attention to because I get that feeling though too, where I'm constantly thinking about it and I'm like, wait, am I obsessing over it too much? But I don't know.
I love obsessing over it because I'm mentally unstable.
I think that's why. Yeah. Well,
You gotta be your own fangirl. I'm just saying.
Because who else is going to hype you up the way that you're going to hype yourself up?
Right?
True.
Right.
Just saying. Oh,
it's
is it my
easy to be
turn?
your-
Oh, no. Oh, no. Keep going. I'm sorry.
You're good. No. I just said it's also easy to be your biggest critic too. So it's better to be your biggest hype man. That's a good
Yes.
perspective on
For
I think
sure.
how to approach it. But no, go Lily. I want to hear.
Well, now I have the giggles. I'm so sorry. So when I started streaming, the whole reason I actually started streaming was because I was a part of a lot of clubs growing up. I'm an only child, so I have that thing where I'm alone a lot. And I always make this joke like, oh my God, could you not tell I was an only child? Just by the way that I act and stuff. But I didn't like what I was seeing in clubs and how everyone tried to fit in with everybody so that they could make friends and they weren't being their true authentic selves. And it really made me sad to see so many people I don't want to be too vulgar with this, but get shit on all the time for having a difference of opinion or liking something that somebody else didn't like. So the whole reason I even started was to make sure that people know that it's okay to just be them. That's the whole reason why I started. I wanted to give people that space and that opportunity to just be like, hi, my name is blah, 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 and I like this stuff. Oh, that's really cool. I like this stuff, which doesn't really lead into your stuff, but I'm really happy that you have something that you like, or to find common interest with somebody. I was just really tired of having fake friendships, and I hoped that I could give something back to a group of people who wanted something a little bit more genuine. So that's yay.
I love that.
No,
I love that
that's
too.
beautiful. Oh.
Thank you.
I was trying to think of the clubs I was in growing up, and you are 100% right. Yeah.
So a little bit of background. I was part of this club and it was called quote unquote nerd club. And it was all the nerdy kids got together, right? It's D&D or Pokemon or video games or anything else. And the discrimination that I saw in that club alone was so heartbreaking. I had a woman come after me because I just wanted to be secretary or treasurer because I was really passionate. And she made a whole smear campaign about me and sent videos around campus.
Why?
Trying to discredit me because I just wanted to help out and give back to a community. It was because she
Oh.
wanted that spot too. So that's like, that was really the driving force that I had to just be kinder and be like wanting just more acceptance from other individuals, or like giving that acceptance to others as well.
Well, I love you just as you are, Lily, because you're perfect.
No, now see, I say perfectly imperfect. See,
Perfectly imperfect, then.
specially made and deserving of so much happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my affirmations.
Aw.
Let's go ahead and just jump into some of the questions that I kind of set up for today, and we can just shoot our ideas through them. Not ideas, the stories or things we want to talk about with them, just for different mental health challenges that we want to talk about, kind of like as we were streaming. So one thing, the very top of my list is pushing that go live button and stage fright. Because man, did I have that today? So how do you overcome the anxiety of pushing the go live button? For me, it's well, my friends are here, they're waiting for me to go, and I'm holding us back. I gotta go now, or we're just gonna sit here forever. That's how I got through it today. There we go. How about you guys?
I actually call somebody before I go live.
Mm-hmm.
It's a friend or it's like a trusted individual, and it just helps me get that fear out. Even if we're talking about nothing, I just need to like have that like burst of like talking about something, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine now. Okay, thanks, bye. And then I go get to do what I'm supposed to do. But I always feel like it helps to talk to somebody just to get the pre-jitters out.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it too is like, even when I was starting out, I think I was always really scared of something going wrong. And like, it's easy to overthink, and it's easy to go into the what if mode. What if like nobody shows up? What if like my PC crashes? And like, what if the worst happens? It's really easy if you sit there and you start thinking about the button. And it is easy to kind of like drag yourself down like that. So what I would really recommend, and honestly what has helped me, I think all of us now have been streaming for years, right? And like what has helped me so much is a pre-stream routine. And that just goes into streaming. Like, have a routine. It's part of your Wednesday night. It's part of your Wednesday morning, like I wake up, I listen to a certain kind of music, and I don't even think about the what if, I just get on there and then go live, like, because it's just part of that routine. You start not overthinking it. So I think like get yourself out of the overthink and start doing something else as part of that routine. The last part is your boom, your go live. That's my opinion on it. That's my little
really
piece
good
of
for
advice.
work-life balance.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, what you just said. That's really good.
Well, what's everybody's pre-stream routine? Like for me, I am crazy. I stream in the morning. I stream at 7 a.m. my time.
I want to be you.
I've always been a
Yeah, I
morning
wanna do that
girly
too.
though. I'm always like, yes, I'm up, and because that's when I have the most energy too. So I'm like, I'm up like at 5 a.m. and then I just like, I either 5 to 6, and then I'm like, I usually like have some breakfast, I have some tea or coffee, and then I'm like, listen to music. I kind of get myself in a good mood. I'm like, all right, I'm like really happy. It's going to be such a good day. Sometimes I write down on Post-it notes too. I'm like, I want to talk about this. I'm so excited to talk about that, and I'll have them around my desk too. So I do stuff like that. What do you guys do?
Oh, I like that. I think routine is really good. Like what you said before, you can get into a routine. See, I'm actually the opposite. I stream at night. I kind of want to maybe play around with some hours, but I'm not sure yet. So, but right now my routine is actually I go for a run before I stream
Ooh.
if I have time, and that kind of helps because I get if
Get
I'm
the
sitting for a long
endorphins.
time. Yeah, and it does actually get the endorphins up too. And then I actually, when I'm ready to go live after I like set up and everything, I actually play a little song because I feel like that can help if you listen to some music to kind of get you into the mood. Music can get you vibing. I kind of thought it'd be fun to even commission like a song, like a little intro song, and then you could listen to that and really pump yourself up. But that obviously takes a little more time and work.
Oh, but I love that idea.
I think listening to a song can really help you because it's you're getting ready for a little bit of a performance, and then I think once you're in it, if you can get out of your head, just like you said, because that was such a good thing, getting in your head. If you overthink things, you're just gonna get nervous, and the unknown is always scary. So just kind of like getting yourself in the moment, because like once I'm in the moment while I'm streaming, I'm just like there, present, enjoying what's actually happening right there and then. I just have a blast, or I have a good time. I just I think when I get out of the moment, then I start to panic more or have an issue. I overthink things like you mentioned.
Yeah, for me, mine's always, it's a very static schedule for me. I work in the morning, and then as soon as I get off, I give myself an hour between when I get off work to go stream. And during that time frame, I drive home, I get food, I eat, I sit down, I set everything up, and then I stream. Like I don't really have time to think about it.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
I just kind of don't give myself time to panic about it, unlike some other times that
Mhm.
I may or may not give myself way too much time before I hit the go live button. And then it's
Yeah.
great though.
I've
But
been
yeah,
there.
that's
So
Yeah, I
that's
feel like
fine.
oh no,
I'm sorry. No, I
no,
feel
you
like
go.
moments where you do give yourself more time, sometimes that can actually cause that little bit of stage fright. I think just overthinking it
Mhm.
is the biggest
Mhm.
thing.
I was literally going to say the same thing because I also work at night. So I'm doing like a bunch of different things during the day. And then I don't give myself enough time to do anything. And I'm like, oh my God. And that's why I said with the phone call, because it helps me like kind of like bring me back down to where I am mentally and be like, okay, now I'm here. I'm in the present. I'm not overthinking. I'm not doing a lot of things, but I'm here and I'm ready.
Mhm.
How do you think that like ADHD and having like what did you call it? You said
Oh, my
ADHDism?
my ADHD.
ADHD. How do you think does that affect like your go live mentality or like getting up to that point, or do you just like cruise through?
I cruise through a lot, but that's just because I'm very high energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I can work off of anything. I don't know if that's a superpower, but it's also my biggest weakness because the overthinking portion that comes with it.
Yeah.
You're zooming. I mean, you get on one train of thought, that's it. It's over.
It's like hyperfixating kind of thing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. For me with ADHD, if I have somebody to like at least bring me like back down to my chair, think of myself as like a helium balloon. And if somebody can just pull me right back down to the chair, I am good to go. I'm great. I'm cruising. But if
I think
there's no
it's
one to pull me, it's over.
Yeah, I think that's actually also a really good point. So I'm sure we'll talk about it, but also like find somebody who like they don't need to be like on the journey totally with you, but a good support person, somebody who's like
Yes.
gonna hype you up in your corner. Even I know
Mhm.
it's kind of hard if you don't have that because streaming itself is a little isolating when you're not live.
Mhm.
So like you're sitting there thinking about your content. So it would be good to have somebody to be like, you can do it. I guess that would be a good also piece of advice.
To go off of yours, I would just say your moderators. Like your moderators are there
Mm,
to help you and be supportive of you and the goals that you're trying to reach. And like that's actually who I end up talking to are my moderators a lot of the
mm,
time for that support because they're the ones that know like my streams inside and out and like who I am as a person.
right.
And if I don't have that closeness with my moderators, then I truly feel like I have nothing. I need to have that level with people or else I can't do what I do. I can't have fakeness. I can't have unfamiliarity, I guess. It doesn't
Mhm.
make me feel good and it feels really disingenuous to me. Of course, there are boundaries. I'm not saying we don't have boundaries, but I just need to know that the people that are with me are here because they want to be, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think with knowing that your community is or even your moderators or anybody that you support with is like they're there for you as a content creator because that's one thing that I kind of struggled with at the very beginning was like do I need to be goofy all the time or can I
Mm,
act super
Mhm.
chill, like are they gonna eh, is my gremlin mode too much? Am I too
mm-hmm.
gremlin-y in this
Mhm.
moment? Like am I
Am I not
crossing
enough?
am I not enough of a gremlin? Do I need to
Yes.
Yeah, but,
But yeah, marrying that if you just like are in the moment of like what's happening, just
mhm.
enjoying that. Just don't worry about it because you're just having fun and that's ultimately what they want to see too.
Yeah, that's, I believe that's part of, like, making mistakes while you're live kind of thing. So, like, if how would you
Mm-hmm.
handle, like, if you make something happens on your stream, something crashes, your internet goes down, but a mistake happens while you're live, how would you handle something like that in the moment?
It's never happened to me ever. I've never had a scuff moment in my life. What are you talking about? It doesn't happen every stream.
You're
Every
a
single
VTuber, you liar!
stream. Every stream. It does happen every stream, man. But I learned as a child because I did dance that in dance, if you're performing, if you like make a face or pay attention to it, like or like you notice it and point it out, they're gonna see it too. So it's kind of in your control what you show. And obviously there's some things. If your stream goes down, you don't have to like you can't hide that. But it's how you react sometimes too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause stuff's
Mhm.
gonna happen, but like you can honestly like I can't tell you how many times people are like, "Oh, this happened on stream." I'm like, "Really? I didn't notice that." And like, okay, or like, because like you get in your head a lot with streaming, And that's what we we're saying before with like getting all nervous or overthinking going live. You get in your head a lot because, you know, you're trying to constantly do better or think about what can I do or whatever it is. So it's just better if you just like try to play it off. If you don't want that to be shown, like one time I had something kind of serious like on my stream where I accidentally showed something that I maybe didn't want to, like for a split second, and I didn't draw attention to it. So that's one thing you can do. First off is just like in dance, if you try to just smile through it, they might not even notice. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do that. You have to hide all your mistakes. Play it up. Have fun with it, you know? They're going to happen. I'm not human. I'm actually an angel. But I sometimes act human. And, you know, people make mistakes and it's going to happen and you just got to have fun with it. It can get frustrating, though, sometimes. And that's always a hard thing because, like, sometimes I just want to do better for my people. If, like, something like, oh, I want to give them a good performance. I want to have it beautiful and perfect for them. And for me, it happens quite often just because my kind of content creation is making, like, animations or making VTuber stuff. And sometimes you hit that play to make it work and it just doesn't work. Like programs or what you thought. Like I have so many things where I like on Live 2D, the program that we use to make VTubers, I'll have something set up to do something and I'll be like, okay, it's gonna do it. And I'll press play and then like the whole thing just like comes apart and she contorts in a way that's like terrifying and everyone's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. And so you just gotta laugh at it, I guess. But it's gonna happen and you might as well just let it like wash off your back, or you know, that technique of not really noticing it as much, you know. It's already happened.
Yeah. I mean, with what you're saying with the live 2D, the same thing happens with 3D models, let me tell you. If you have two different emotions, or not emotions, but like poses set up, if you turn them both on at the same time, it is like you just crawled out of something weird and you're like convulge in on yourself.
See, that's what I use for content sometimes too, because it's funny. Like
Yeah,
one
I
time
like
I was
that.
rigging something. One time I was rigging something and this error kept coming up and I could not get it to stop. And it was really frustrating because I couldn't like stop it from doing it. But it kept saying inappropriate meshes. And like every time it was on the booba. And I was like, oh, of course you are. It meant something else, but you gotta play with it. You gotta have fun with it. I don't know.
I mean, that's mistakes and things going live. I guess one thing that I do on my stream is that I will say things wrong half the time on purpose and the other half not on purpose. And that way my community never knows if I actually say something wrong or not live.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And so one of my mods is like, well, she could be doing this for a bit, or she could actually not know how to say that. I'm not going to touch that. And I go, cool, thanks. Excellent.
I actually have sticky notes on my monitors, and a lot of them are like, take a deep breath, or like, but what if you succeed, and don't waste time and energy on people who don't deserve it. So it's always like a constant reminder to have in front of me before I have my immediate despair meltdown where I'll start crying for like 20 minutes because I'm upset about the thing that happened. I'm just like, nope, we're good. We got this. It's just like some mental prep that I do while I'm live.
I used to be so terrified of things going wrong. I kid you not, because there's nothing worse than like troubleshooting something live, right? That is the worst feeling.
But did you try turning it on and turning it off again?
Yes. And
You just triggered.
there's like things that you just can't figure out in the moment, and like you feel frustrated, right? But you're absolutely right in that like you can control how much of that frustration shows. So that is something that we can control, but you cannot control things going wrong, or even sometimes these accidents happening, like saying something wrong or showing something you might not have really shown, you know, if you like did a thorough look. But some games, you know, even some games will accidentally dox you, you know, that kind of thing. You have to understand that like these things are going to happen. And I used to be very hard on myself too. And I used to be like crying, being like, it's over, catastrophic, you know?
Yeah.
But like, honestly, with time, you look back and you're like, that bad stream or even that bad moment is a drop in a bucket. Just keep going, like, and just ignore, like, delete the VOD. It's over, it's done, and move on, you know? And just recognize, like, that these things are going to happen. If you haven't had it happen to you yet, recognize you will have it happen to you in the future. And like, let's start planning for the mechanisms that we can put in place, you know, so you're not going to like, oh my gosh, it's over, catastrophize, or however you say that word. Like it's the end of the world. Make it an apocalyptic scenario. Like I used to do. Do not be like me back in the day. But like looking back at it now, it's a drop in the bucket.
100%.
And honestly, a lot of those are not the doxing part of it, but some of the other stuff could be clippable moments that you would like later, maybe.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's all about how you play it off. Obviously, there's some things that don't fall into that exactly, but you know.
Yeah, like streamer thought Australia was part of America or something like that. You know, like you can take a lot of embarrassing moments and also make them like, don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. You know, don't be afraid to laugh at the silly things that can happen. And a lot of that, like your chat will also appreciate.
I think that's a big one that you just hit. See, I've always grown up like just laughing at myself anyways, so I never really had a hard time with that that idea, but you can't take yourself too seriously. The whole thing can mean a lot to you, like VTubing or your content creation or whatever you're doing can mean a lot to you, but don't take it so seriously. Laugh at yourself. It's good.
I used to say too, like my motto used to be, I take VTubing seriously, I take streaming seriously because I didn't want to just like, you know, oh, I'll just do whatever, you know. I wanted to really like do my best at it, but I take streaming seriously, but I don't take myself too seriously. That used to be my motto too.
That's a good way to say it too.
That's perfect.
Because it's like good. And I think for people who are very serious, and like all of us have mentioned a lot, like I want to show my best self and I always want to be like, they deserve the best, you know, my community deserves the best. We care a lot about that. But at the same time, it's like these things happen, man. Like
And
give
that
yourself
is
some
why-
grace.
That is literally why I say perfectly imperfect. Because there's no way that anybody in the whole world is perfect. So laugh at your mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. And that's why if I make a mistake, somebody else viewing me could be like, oh, it's okay to make mistakes. We don't have to have that constant pressure.
Yeah, and that is actually one of the questions I was going to go over is like, while you're doing everything live and all of that, how do you balance your authentic self with your like online self, like social media and just streaming and everything in general? Like I know that I don't have like a persona that I go on with my VTuber, and she has lore of course, but like I post and I talk like I do in real life. I don't put on anything. I don't put on airs, I guess would be a funny way to say it. But yeah, I just kind of, how I balance everything is just I am who I am, and well, this is what you get, and I'm goofy and I'm silly, and you're just gonna have to deal with that.
Heck yeah.
I think there are two types of like content creators. I mean, there's probably more, but people that do play more of a character and people who are more like, I'm playing myself, you know? So it first depends on that. I play myself because that's kind of how I got into it, and I don't think I could do it a different way. Now that says that's wrong if they do, because like maybe it's really cool. Like I've seen some really cool characters, and I would, you know, I like that sometimes. It all depends on what they want to do. But for me, I just be myself, like you said, and I mean that's how I stay authentic, because I'm just truly trying to be me. I don't know.
I agree. I think that it really is up to your personal preference about how much you want to separate who you are IRL and like who you project or who you are on stream, right? I think it's important to have boundaries. Mentally, that's important. There are things that maybe you might not feel that ready to share yet. And it's important to kind of recognize that as well. Like, even when you're just talking there, and especially if it's like 5 hours or 6 hours every stream, right? It can even be easy if you don't have those boundaries set up to kind of accidentally trip into them, right? You're like, oops, now I'm talking about a sensitive topic. I didn't really want to talk about it. And now I'm worried that it's awkward or something. So in my opinion, like recognize those boundaries in yourself and be like, I'm not going to bring this up. Or like if somebody asks about that kind of thing, I'm just going to be like, you know, something else and move on or something, you know, like find a way to deal with those situations. If they do happen, then you won't have to panic in the moment and you won't have to feel awkward. Like you have to go into a sensitive topic for you. So I think that's important when you're starting out for sure. And recognize also that the boundaries and what you portray online and what you're comfortable doing might change as you go on with streaming or as you go on with life. And I've seen that happen where I've seen people who were not comfortable doing 18 and over are now comfortable, or vice versa. So recognize that in yourself too. Like, people grow. Give yourself some grace to do that as a person.
I love that. I love that. It's coming from somebody who has been in this space a long time, and this was pre-VTuber me. I felt like I really couldn't be myself, and I had to put on this persona that I didn't really want to be, and that's how everyone started to know me as. And it wasn't until I got into VTubing that I fully allowed myself to just be the person that I've always been. And you just touching on the whole, like, you can change at any time really resonates with me. And I'm just so happy that you even brought that up. That was so awesome.
It's true. I definitely think, like, I see a lot of people, even myself, that you get either more comfortable, or maybe you grow up and maybe you grow up, maybe you grow older. Maybe you grow older and you say, you know what, like, I'm comfortable sharing this with you guys now. Maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you're like, maybe I want to pull back on that because that was kind of harmful to my mental health, and I realized I overshared and now I don't want it anymore. That's okay too. It's all up to you. And the point is, like, you gotta find your comfort zone. You gotta find your boundaries, and you gotta find your comfort zone. And don't be afraid to reassess that as you kind of grow.
I love that too. Also, I think it's important to know that your boundaries can be different than somebody else. Just because somebody does this and they're okay with it doesn't mean that you have to be. So don't be pressured into that kind of thing, because I can see that happening.
And yeah, I feel like that is really important too, because I'm a PG-13 streamer. I like to keep, like, my language PG-13. People get, auto-modded if they drop F-bombs in my chat and stuff. That's just where my comfort zone is. But also, like, if you are thinking about it, like, when you're starting out and you're like, gosh, I don't see anybody doing it the way I want to do it, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, right? That doesn't mean you need to capitulate or change or anything like that, because think of it down the road. I want people to think, like, 2 years down the road, you could be somebody that other people are like, I see them doing it, so I'm okay doing it, right? You can be the trailblazer. You can be just doing it your own way. I think, like, people a lot of the times feel kind of indirect peer pressure to, like, kind of, okay, I'm gonna, like, do what they're doing,
Definitely.
And there's always this standard with people, right? Like, other people's hate and inability to change can sometimes influence you as a content creator, right? It's not necessarily criticism, but more of, like, everyone shoving their own expectations and opinions onto you, and it can kind of force you in a direction that you're not comfortable with, or you don't really want to go with. But at the time, you're like, oh, well, they seem to like this, so okay, yeah, I guess this is okay. And it's not really until you find your voice and where you actually want to be that you're going to change.
Yeah.
And I feel like this conversation we're having also leads into perfectionism, right? Because your authentic self versus the expectation of perfectionism that might not even be yours plays a huge part in your balance, or could play a huge part in someone else's balance. So it could tip the scales. So you definitely have to find just you. You got to find you. I'm so big on that. I'm so big on finding out just you. Oh.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. That's helpful, actually, guys, because, like, sometimes, I've always kind of played just myself because of how I got into it. And sometimes I think that way, like, well, maybe if I would do better if X, Y, or Z, if I do this or if I try. But for me, I just want to, do what I'm enjoying, I guess. But it's helpful. It's really helpful. I don't want to explain it.
I think also, like, finding your own voice is so important. It's so hard. No one else can walk that journey for you. Just letting you know, you gotta walk that one on your own, because, like, yeah, me going on and I was like, no one's gonna want to hear me ramble about makeup. And to be honest, that's what people know about me and love about me. That's what my community loves about me. I'm different from everybody else. That's something you got to celebrate. People do want to hear you ramble about D&D or Warhammer. That's just what you got to lean into. That's who you are. I don't want to see a million copies of everybody else. I think like you got to find your own voice and you got to be confident in that. But it takes a while. It takes a while.
100%. And just don't listen to other people that want to force you into a box.
Those people are haters.
Those people are haters. And you won't know. I'm so passionate. I am so passionate right now. You won't even know it because it's always guised as, oh, but I'm helping you, right? It's always guised as that. But in reality, it's them wanting to curate you. It can be very narcissistic. And in turn help not help your mental at all. So I don't know. Again, I'm very passionate about this. Ugh.
I love that passion. Show us more.
Oh my
Perfect.
God.
Love it.
It pisses me off.
But I think that's what drives you, your passion is what drives you. So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
just really tap into that. Yeah.
I never want people to never start something because they are too afraid of what everybody else is going to say. Everyone's going to hate you no matter what. And that's just what it is. I have people who don't like me and I say, listen, that's okay because I like myself.
You could
That's
be
it.
the juiciest peach, but
someone's
somebody
still
is
gonna
not
hate
going to want peaches. Yeah.
Oh, true. I like that. I like how you guys
Oh,
said
I
that.
love that. I do. I love that saying so much. Keep going.
I love peaches. So, and Lily, with all of the passion, everything that we all do together, and we all content created for a really long time so far, but how can you tell if you're approaching burnout or if you're just feeling too drained to kind of stream? How do you handle that?
Okay, so something that I have incorporated into my work-life balance for streaming and burnout is taking 2 vacations a year. They can be at-home vacations, they could be going somewhere. I don't care what you do, but you get 2 weeks vacation just as any other normal job would. And I take one in the beginning of the year, like maybe around Marchish, and then I take one towards the end of the year. But I really plan big for that one because everyone needs that break. Everyone needs to take time away from the internet. I'm not chronically online and I never have been. So these breaks are very necessary for me to just kind of come back and just be myself and remember who I am as a person outside of the internet, which seems kind of weird in retrospect when you're hearing it, but I just like to do other activities. And if I feel like I'm approaching burnout, but I'm not ready to take my vacations yet, I don't mean for this to sound weird either, but I do a little less. So that means I'll do some of the work that I need to do, and then I'll take a couple hour break, and then I'll come back if I want to do some more work, but I do it in smaller doses so I don't feel so overwhelmed by my impeding schedule of this needs to get done and this needs to get done and this needs to get done. I just kind of go at it day by day and hour by hour, and we see where I'm at. If I need a little bit more time for just me to be outside or maybe connect with somebody IRL, then I'm going to do that. But I will always attempt to do a little bit of work so I don't feel overwhelmed later, because with my ADHD, it can feel just a burden can just really wash over you with your list. And I'm just not about that. I will be crippled in a little depressive episode if I'm not getting all my stuff done. So that's what helps me personally.
That's really good. I like that advice because that's kind of what I do a little bit too to stay away from burnout. I'm very involved with just trying to, my health and trying to be physical and going outside and spending time with people that, in person. Being chronically online can be not a good thing. So But then I have that issue, kind of like what you mentioned. What I liked is when you come back, if you take too much time off, oh my gosh, my list can be so much so. And then it kind of prevents me from wanting to do that sometimes. But it's more important that I do take the time off and try to work on what's important physically, I guess.
Yeah, I always feel that if you are not doing well mentally, then nothing else will do well, because you're the center of your content creation, right? So if you're not doing well, then your content's not doing well. And I mean, it could be going great, right? But if you're burnt out, I know other people are going to see that. It's not just going to be as a you problem. It's going to be an everyone problem, because you yourself are the entertainer. And that's why I'm so big on it. To not have breaks, it almost seems very wild to me that a lot of people do not take breaks. And if you don't, if that's not for you, that's not for you. But I'm always so big on people taking breaks, always. And I sometimes, because everyone's like, oh, but they'll forget about me. And then that's when the anxiety sets in, right? But I truly believe that absence makes the heart grow fonder. So if you take necessary steps to take that time off while scheduling content on top of that so you can have those extra days, then do it. You got to do what's best for you.
Usually what I do to kind of combat burnout, because I do a lot all the time.
You do so much.
Is I actually be like, okay, guys, I won't be here on X, Y, and Z day because I'm going to go to a concert. Bye.
You're going to go live.
I'm going to go do something cool, and I'll be back and I'll show you guys pictures. If it doesn't do anything, I can't dox anything, but I'll show you pictures, and then we can talk about how I just had that day off and it was super cool, and that's how I do it. And it's how, go out and I guess touch grass is what they tell us to do. But I go out to concerts because I love concerts.
It also brings in a new like item to your content.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other part that I really love, like just sharing experiences, because I know a lot of people love sharing their experiences and what they're doing. And I think it just opens up another floodgate of personality to you and your community.
I think a lot of creators have a really hard time actually recognizing burnout. And that's something that, everybody kind of has their own level of what they would consider burnout. But some warning signs, some like red flags for yourself are like, you gotta check in with yourself and you gotta be like, okay, am I able to be creative, or is streaming becoming like a super chore for me? Am I like dreading streaming? And then you gotta ask yourself like, okay, am I getting enough sleep? Is my sleep quality absolutely terrible? You gotta ask yourself, hey, did I just react super crazy to like a small setback or something like that? When you get like really emotional about things that are a little unreasonable, that is also a burnout sign too. And I think like people being very lethargic, people are, feeling like, oh, I'm just lazy or something. They might not have any motivation. It could also be burnout too. So I think a lot of people have a hard time recognizing that, and they need to take some steps to like remedy that, like get out or do something different, take a step back, get some fresh air, have an experience that they can come back and talk about and that kind of thing. So yeah, touch some grass.
Go get lost in the woods for a couple days,
Yeah. I think what's also really good to remember is that burnout looks different for everybody, and you're not going to fix it with a weekend. You're not going to fix it with a week. And going off of what Olivia said, that figuring out what your burnout is and what would work for you over the long haul is just so beneficial.
No, I agree with that. Because like when I get burnt out, it kind of creeps up on me sometimes because I'm always in go mode and I don't really think about it. And then suddenly I stop and I go, I need a break right now, like immediately.
That's true. Learning how to recognize, like, if you're being healthy right now for yourself is important. It's hard to do, though. Balance is really hard. So, listen to people around you and even ask them. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. Because one time, like, I thought, oh, I'm doing great. And someone was like, actually, I noticed it's very chaotic over there. And I'm like, oh, maybe it is.
Well, good.
I meant just in my life, like, and I just put it kind of away because I just wasn't really seeing it. So don't be afraid to listen to people in your life too about it.
I always think that the two most important, maybe three most important things that I try to do every day are drink water, because I'll forget because my ADHD, I'm in a project and I didn't eat. Oh, I didn't drink. Oh, I didn't do these things to take care of myself. So that's like my number one priority to just like have that balance for myself is eat a good meal, drink the necessary amount of water, and also just do a small walk. You don't have to be fitness expert, going to the gym all the time, gym broing, protein shakes, just a walk, just something that gets you a little bit more active than usual. And I truly feel like those are like the key steps for at least me and my brain. And if that helps you too, I think that'd be awesome. But you need to eat and you need to drink no matter what our brains say. And like, cause I used to do this thing, even like to pee. I'm like, nope, I'm going to finish this task. I'm not going to pee until I finish this thing I'm doing. Oh, I'm not going to eat. And like, that is so detrimental. I cannot tell you how detrimental that is. And it is so hard to break those stupid little habits that I have from like, God knows, even just like school and other things. And I just want people to eat and drink and
is that an ADHD thing? Because I do that all the time too, especially when I'm drawing. That's why like streaming actually helps me because I'll be like, if I'm not streaming a drawing, sometimes like it'll be like 9 hours and I'm like, oh, 9 hours have passed or something ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, I've just been sitting here. But when I'm streaming,
it's nighttime.
They like remind me I'm like their little Neopet they gotta take care of on stream. Like, oh, remember. And it's kind of nice.
Yeah, maybe it is an ADHD thing. That's just what I harp on is just like, did you eat? Did you drink? Mostly because my friends also harp on me and they ask me every day at a certain time. They're like, did you drink water? I'm like, oh, no. Oh, my God. That's probably why I don't feel good. That's probably why I'm sad.
Horrible.
Did you only eat candy? Oh, my God, I did. Oh, that's so awful.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So how about we jump into that then next? What is your guys' self-care routine to stay like mentally, emotionally balanced just on the normal day-to-day?
I feel like
On
Olivia
the
has this one.
day-to-day. Me?
Yeah, I do. I feel like you're really balanced, so I want to hear from you first.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say like I do think I have a slight like inherent leg up on this because I will say because I get a very big kick out of self-care routines in general. Like I love skincare. I love taking care of myself. I love like grooming myself like that, and like I love self-grooming, baby. I'm like a monkey picking bugs off another monkey. I love that stuff.
so gross right now.
I love it. No, I'm serious. So I have like, I have my hair care routine and it makes me so enamored and I love it. And I just get a really big positive energy kick from it. And also, I think I look cute. And so then I act cute, So I'm like, okay.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I would say like, so like my self-care routine, though, mentally and emotionally, like that is different than physical, right? So obviously take care of your physical needs like you were mentioning, right? Drink water, have a good meal. I can be very bad about that sometimes. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I gotta eat something. Yeah, that's important. I'll touch some grass, go for a walk, get some fresh air in your place. That's so important. It'll also affect the mental too. Like I know that like I don't want to go into as much like depression or when depression kind of holds you back from self-care, right? Like because it can do that. But what I'm talking about is like when you're kind of feeling in a little bit of a funk, right? Maybe not depression, but when you're feeling like a little bit low or down, really going to take a shower helps. Really going to like do something for yourself really does take the first step on that and you will feel better. It's just one of those things, man. It's just like you put a little effort in on like the self-care and it will pay you back in dividends, for your mental and your emotional health. It really does. So I'm like, that's the same time too. I'm like, sometimes I'm feeling like low and stuff and I'm like, I'll go take a shower.
You're explaining this to a woman with autism. So like I can't get into the shower. It is hard for me because I cannot describe this other than it is the feeling of then being wet. You go from dry to wet and it makes me want to squirm. So it is, I have to mentally prep myself to shower. So because when I'm in there, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm in here. I love it. But then I'm like, I don't want to get out now because then it's wet to dry. So it's like a feeling thing. So I'm like, I want to like it and I do like it, but I have to spend an hour mentally prepping myself to be like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a feeling. It'll go away really quickly. It's okay. It's so okay. You'll be fine. So it's so funny when you say that. I was like, I have such a problem.
Well, it doesn't have to be a shower, it could be like just change your clothes, it could be like do something like that, start somewhere. I do think it's important to like, if you're feeling a little bit like mentally drained out, try something like that to kind of get yourself back in
I'm
the
with you on the
groove.
clothes thing.
Yeah.
Because like I know streamers, we could just wear our pajamas all day. I am currently doing that. Please don't make fun of me. I am literally in my pajamas today. But yeah, oh my God, I wholly agree. Sorry, I'm so excited.
No, I think it's really good. It makes sense. And I think what's important is like you just gotta remember there's a hierarchy of needs for every person. You can't really do your best work if you're hungry or, tired or, not feeling confident about yourself. So taking care of those priorities first of like your physical and mental health and even making sure you have some confidence and feeling good about yourself. So taking showers, make sure taking care of yourself is really helpful. Yeah.
Oh, do you want to know what else I think is helpful? And I always say this to everybody. When you are in the mirror, please practice positive affirmations. And I know it sounds really silly, but one of the ways that I gained a lot of confidence in myself way back when was I would look at myself and I would go, wow, I have a really pretty smile. And I would do affirmations like that, like every night and every morning, or like, I really like how my eyes look today. Oh, I really like this outfit on me. I really like how I did my hair. And that is something that has really perked up my mood in my life. And I feel like a lot of people like shy away from that because they may think it's a little too cringe to talk to themselves. But I highly recommend it as like a pick-me-up if you are just so down on yourself. Just saying one nice thing.
That's
called mindfulness,
something.
actually.
Something nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I studied a little bit about it. So it's actually what it's technically doing, the science behind it is it's rewiring your brain to think more positively. And you can do that like by just doing those affirmations. You're like rewiring your brain to just think more positively about yourself and really works. It's kind of crazy. There's a lot of science behind it, actually.
Yeah.
Mindfulness.
I sing to myself.
Oh, do you make up songs?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, I
And then
love-
after I sing it, I'm like, I should write that down, and I can't remember a word that I just did. And I'm like, dang it. Oh well, it's fine. It's off in the void now.
Yeah,
Let's start
I like doing
recording
that
it.
too.
I don't know how much time we have left, but let's go over at least one as far as streaming challenges are for mental health and everything. So while you're streaming, you're going to encounter a lot of different people and things like that. What is your approach as a streamer to protect your community or even just yourself from like trolls or just toxic behavior that may pop up while you're streaming?
Ban and block, baby.
Yeah.
See, I do the opposite. I'm so bad, you guys. I do the opposite. All right, we're gonna have two sides of the coin here. Okay, I just want to say, the common advice that I should give is to ignore and don't engage. Right? You ban and you block any trolls. Now, however. I do not. I directly engage with them.
I'm not saying go
Are
and
you
engage
sassy?
with them. Make
Are you
that
sassy about
content.
it? Yeah, make the content.
Yeah, right. I mean, I like to get into somebody's psyche. You know, what causes someone to jump into a chat and just start
who
asking me
knows?
to take off my clothes or something? What causes that to happen? You know, so I like to kind of dig in deep with them. I really like to go the distance, but I wouldn't recommend, that's an advanced strategy. I wouldn't recommend beginners trying that one. When I was back
depends
in
on
the
what
day,
the
I would
comment
just
is.
ban. Yeah, I would just ban them and block them back in the day too.
Don't
But
wanna
yeah.
antagonize them too much too, depending on what it is. You know, obviously,
I
like
like to
if
go
it's-
circles.
yeah, you gotta be careful though a little bit because some people
Yes.
can be a little not
Yeah,
necessarily
you don't want to
very
go. Yeah,
crazy,
you don't
but
want to go crazy. Don't.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
advanced strat. But anyways, yeah. But people have different methods, you know, of dealing with trolls in their own way. Yeah.
Ollie,
it
listen.
really depends on what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of a time when I was dungeon master for a D&D game, and one of the players was trying to woo another NPC, and I go, "So woo her to me,
Oh, do it
right now. What do you say? Role play it out. Let's go."
I love that.
No, you don't get to roll for it. You have to act it out. This is a role playing game.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. And they backed up real fast.
You have
Come
to
here,
start
spit
asserting
on that
dominance.
thing.
Yeah, the world is not equal, buddy. You're the DM and you're
Like,
the
let's
player.
go.
So let's go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So that was one of the things that I do.
So going back to the whole ban and block thing,
Mhm.
I just don't want to hear it. Like I know it's not going to be anything constructive, obviously, because I already read the message, and there's no point in me doing anything about it because they already have a narrative. They already threw it all together, and that is what they truly believe and want to heckle you about and whatever. And no matter what you say, it will not change. So I just ban and block because I'm like, I can't change your mind. You don't like me. This is how it is. I don't know. That's it. So it's just less stressful for me. And like, if you don't like me, why are you here? Let me help you. I'll help you. I got your mental in heart. Honestly, I'm a good person. I'm thinking about your mental.
Yeah. One thing my community does for me, because they know that my community has like we're very kind, we're very giving and everything. And if someone pops into the chat and they do something weird, everyone just kind of collectively ignores them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's glorious, honestly, to watch an entire chat not interact with the troll, and then they probably just get fed up and leave if you don't straight up block them, you know.
Yeah.
Very
I do that too.
Yeah,
from
you
time to
you
time.
do have to kind of train your community a little bit on some of those things, depending because
They will
I
follow your
remember-
lead. Yeah.
they will they'll
Mhm.
follow your lead on that, and you know that can be a good thing, I guess, if you use it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I appreciate when somebody comes in and is being like an absolute, I have words, troll. Anyway, when they're coming in like that, and I love when my community's like, bro, what's wrong with you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
You need a hug? Like, what is the problem here? Like, do you need help? And I love seeing that because then they have no idea what to do. I just like watching them.
Yeah, I every one of our communities that I go to and I visit, you're just so lovely. I love all of them. They're so sweet.
Aw.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Mwah, mwah,
Love you
mwah.
too. Mean it.
Let's just go with 2 more questions and then we'll wrap up our lovely podcast for today. One of the last questions I wanted to ask for everybody is, how do you maintain a healthy work boundary and a creator boundary. Like if you do daytime work and then you have content work, how do you maintain a healthy balance between the two of them to where you do, 100% for both?
Do you mean like with my viewers, right?
Right, with your viewers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm so excited now. I feel like I've come out of my shell where I was quieter in the beginning, and now I'm like, oh my God.
Take this one. You got it.
Let's go.
Run with it, girl.
I'm sorry. I'm so excited because this one I actively do. So if I'm feeling like really sensitive or like just maybe not myself, but I am in the mood to stream, my moderators and I usually pin a message in the top of chat that says like, hey, Lily's like feeling a little like sensitive today. If we could just keep that in mind. Cause like I joke around so much. I always say that you have to have a little bit of a thicker skin when you come to my stream because I joke around so much. But we just usually tell people like, hey, like a little bit sensitive today or like some stuff happened, blah, blah, blah. Just be a little bit more mindful of the things that like you say. And then we can just all have like a really good time. But that's how I establish my health and boundaries to my community because they will not know unless I say something. Right?
I love that.
Open
Yeah.
and honest with them. Thank you.
Otherwise they don't know, because like if
Yeah.
you're I do the same thing. I love like I pick on myself all the time, not in like there's some ways where I don't like when people do that, but I don't know, I know how to laugh at myself, and I totally get what you're saying. You gotta have
Yeah.
thicker skin because I mess up all the time and it's funny, and I don't know, you could use it that way. But some days I am a little more sensitive, and I love that idea of like, because you gotta tell them,
Mhm.
because they'll care, they'll care. And if you have somebody who is not caring about the boundaries, well, then that's a different situation.
It's a red flag.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I like that. That's a good
It's
way
a
to do it. Also, you
multi-purpose tool.
don't have to keep addressing it that way too. Just a little pen message and stuff is a great
Yeah,
idea.
you don't have to go into any details going back to like boundaries and
Let's
what we're
feel
willing
that.
to share with other people. That's why I just leave it very broad and the community always understands. They're like, no worries. Like, and I love that. I love how supportive they are with what I'm able to communicate to them with. It feels very genuine, and that's again everything that I'm just about.
I love that. I
Yeah.
was trying to think of one that I would do in my community as far as like boundaries and everything. The only boundary that I can really think of that I actively set up is that we try not to bring up some like certain kinds of topics and things like that. And if it happens to pop up in a game, I'm looking at you, BioShock 3.
Ooh.
Oh.
I will hot drop that game so fast. Oh god.
It's intense.
Oh man. So when that pops up, I'm like, okay, guys, that was just, as you know, that was not okay. What just happened there? And we're gonna move on now. That's what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of do with mine. The only other questions that I kind of wanted to do just a little bit of a wind down here at the end to wrap everything up. And again, thank you all so much. This has been absolutely fantastic. I loved chatting with all of you today, talking about how we each do our different streams and everything. If you could have one last like piece of advice that you would want to just give people starting their journeys to better take care of themselves as just kind of starting out, what would be your one major piece of advice you would give everybody?
It's gonna be okay. Like all the crazy things that you think can go wrong might go wrong. But like, guess what? It's gonna be okay. I think that's the most important thing.
I agree. And to backpack off of that, just start.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's
you're
always
gonna be
my
your
first piece of advice with people.
That's what,
Yeah, I was thinking that's what I was gonna say too. But
just
hard.
start. You're gonna be your own worst enemy if you keep hoarding onto all of these ideas you want to do and never implement them.
There's always gonna be a reason to not do something too. Like you're always gonna have that, like, well, I need this first, or I need this first. It never stops. So just do it. Just start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You don't need to have
upgrade.
Yeah. This is where I was going. You don't have to have a fancy model. You don't have to do any of that stuff. If you're going to be successful, if you're going to get out there, it's going to be you. And all the other stuff can come afterwards.
And you're always gonna look back at your first step and be like, I could do better now. Well, then just start. Get that stuff out of the way. Start practicing. Start getting it in there, like starting is a great advice.
And also, just on a more technical side, always focus on vocals rather than like other things like cameras or everything
Focus
else.
on the
because-
audio.
Yeah, focus on the audio because that's how people are going to listen to you. I can't tell you how many times I've stumbled upon somebody, but I can't sit there and watch them because they have audio issues. Audio is going to be your best friend. People are going to leave you up. People are going to use you like a podcast. Wink, wink. People are going to use as background noise. And if your audio quality isn't there, then, it's going to make it a lot harder for you. But that's like
really
my tech
good.
tip.
Yeah, that kind of leads me into like another thing is watch your content. If you don't like your content, I know it's hard, especially the first times you do it when you have to listen back to your voice and you're like, I sound like that. No, I always wanted to sound like this. Why don't what? Just watch your stuff back. You will thank me later.
It gives you something to work on if you find that you don't like it. And also, it also preps you for editing, right? Like, you don't have enough money for an editor, you can learn how to do it yourself. So you have to get more comfortable with watching your content, but it also pivots you in a direction of being like, oh, I would like to change like this approach. I would like to change how I do this or this or this or this. And then you get all your ideas on paper.
I think one more really good advice for this too is that you are going to have to like learn a little bit of everything. You can do it all. So sometimes like when I first started, I was like, well, I don't really know much about this. Well, I kind of had to learn about that. And I had to stop saying those things like, well, I don't really know much about computers. Well, now I learned how to build my own computer. And it's important because you're going to have to do a little bit about everything. You're going to do a little bit of graphic design. You're going to have to do a little bit of audio engineering. You're going to have to do so many things. You don't have to be amazing at it, but you can do it. Thousands and hundreds of people
You
have
just
done it
have
before
to
you.
try.
You can do it. Yeah. And keep it up. Like maybe your first batch is not great. Probably not. You're going to look back and see the growth eventually, but don't be afraid to try it. Like, okay, well, I don't know anything about audio. I don't know anything about music. You're going to have to learn a little bit. And, there's so many resources online. Don't be afraid to learn about it.
Or ask other
And-
questions.
Yeah, and you are going to amaze yourself with what you can do. Guaranteed.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Perfect. Thank you all. These are amazing final tips at the end of the day. The only one that I can think of that I would want everyone to do is that as a new streamer, if you have, a small following right off the bat, it's going to grow eventually, but don't be afraid to like block someone that even if they're a regular viewer, but if they are not being good to you as a viewer, you really don't want that there because then they're going to influence any other viewers that come in. And I've seen that some in other streams where one person talks all the time, but they're very not kind to the streamer and it hurts me and I love them and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna talk to you because you're amazing and you deserve to be prepped. I'm gonna up your emotions because that's what your viewers should do for you. They shouldn't be bringing you down. They should be pushing you up.
I did have one more thing to say in relation to that as well. I guess not in relation to that, but maybe another piece is I can't tell you how many times that I have seen people just not be appreciative of the people who are in their communities. And it really does suck when I read stuff like this, especially on Twitter, and everyone's like, I only have 5 viewers, or I only have 2 viewers, or I only have 10 viewers. And I'm like, but those people love you. Those people show up to your streams every day and they love you. Those are people who they don't want to go on without seeing your stream that day. You brighten up somebody's world. And I hope that more people practice gratitude for that too.
That's really good.
Yeah. I feel so weird in 2024 going into 2025 and seeing all these posts. And I don't know, I'm just appreciative that anybody wants to watch me, right? Like I'm a dorky little lady on the internet with a lot of like I'm just happy people like want to laugh with me. So I always tell people to practice gratitude because I think a lot of people are caught up in the wrong things. I think everyone's like, oh, viewers, oh, you don't have enough or you're not doing enough because you're here and I think there's a big stigma in content creation, but I think it's okay to be thankful for what you do have because I know your community is going to appreciate that a lot too.
Just slow and
that's
steady.
really cool too because practicing gratitude can also help you with mental health as well. So it's another good tip to just do it. Just practice that.
And that's your community. That's not anybody else's. Those are your babies.
Your space. That's what you're making.
You're making that space. But nobody starts out with hundreds of thousands of viewers. Nobody. Nobody.
All right. Well, thank you, Ollie, Shemaya, and Lily for joining me today. I really appreciate
I know you
all.
wanted to say Nilla.
I did.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
this was
us.
really, really fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, you guys are the absolute best. Honestly, I am here because I get to watch content creators like you all, and you just inspire me so much, and you inspire me to make, more and better things every single day. And I just want you to know that you're really cool. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, well, you're really
cool.
cool. Jinx.
Same brain. Same brain.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening to us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.